This is him, Arsen Avakov, Ukraine's ambitious interior minister. His links to the Azov group are well known. He's put their fighters on the payroll of his ministry and appointed one of their commanders, Vadim Troyan, as his deputy.
We probably don't want to be rubbing shoulders with organized far-right militant groups that have, that are very open about it. I mean, you could go right now and view on YouTube their videos of their trainings. They're very forward symbolism. They're not hiding this stuff.
Canadian diplomats and soldiers in Ukraine took an unusual meeting in June of 2018, one that's now coming to light. It was a meeting with one of the paramilitary units raised to fight off the Russian invasion of Ukraine's eastern provinces. One problem: that unit, the Azov Battalion, has been linked to neo-Nazism, and the Canadian military knew that while some neo-Nazi groups prefer to be discreet with their imagery, the Azov Battalion is more forthright. German news found members of the unit sporting SS symbols and swastikas, and Azov prominently places the wolf's hook and black sun, two symbols favored by the Nazis, on its crest.
Maybe there's a wing of them that want to tone it down a little bit so it's playable in North America. That could be one aspect of it, but I think with the way they're doing things over in Europe, I think it's as advertised.
Galloway says what concerns him most is the Canadian government underestimating the reach of groups like the Azov Battalion.
It's gotten a lot stronger amid the ongoing war with pro-Russian forces in eastern Ukraine. The fighting in that region has become kind of ideal breeding ground for militias like Azov. But as war heroes. In Kiev, the capital, I watched an Independence Day parade where veterans of the Azov Battalion marched alongside other volunteer militias, surrounded by cheering crowds, who thanked them for defending Ukraine against Russia. Azov's paramilitary wing is now a major fighting force, with its own bases and training grounds near the front lines of the war against pro-Russian forces.
Thank you guys for watching that video so far. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to touch on a few things that I think is important, I think is relevant, information that I think everybody needs, and where you need to be able to go to get it. So I'm going to try to do this all quick, kind of make this precise with it. There's a few documentaries that everybody needs to be able to see. These are documentaries that came out several years ago. First one you have is Ukraine on Fire. Watch this documentary. If you want a high quality production account for the history of the conflict, the history of Nazism in Ukraine, the turmoil that has gone on since the revolution, and the geopolitical struggle that's going on between, Eastern Europe and Western Europe, this is a documentary that you would definitely going to consider a must-see. This documentary right here is by a French news station that goes in depth into the inside story on the ground, into the aftermath of the Maidan Revolution in Ukraine, in Kiev in 2014. This right here will show you a side of Ukraine and their radicalization problem that the rest of the media is not going to show you. The other one is going to be the Putin interviews. We all know the stories. Russia, president, bad, mad Vlad, horrible dictator, all these atrocities, but we don't know who the person is. Nobody talks about him. You're not allowed to understand who he is. We know more about Xi Jinping in China than we know about Vladimir Putin in Russia. Watch this. If you want to understand how a war like this can happen, you have to understand the source, the history behind it. This is a geopolitical struggle that's been going on since the fall of the Soviet Union. So when you understand the origins of all of these struggles and the geopolitical problems that have been going on in that region of the world, you can understand why we came to why this war is what's going on right now. It doesn't justify it, doesn't make it right. It doesn't make the pain and the suffering of the people right, but you need to understand what causes war, because what you're being told is not true. The last one I'm going to recommend here as far as videos is a talk from Yale. This is a talk a few years ago about how the United States, the foreign policies, the geopolitical moves of NATO have shaped and cultivated the decisions and the actions of Vladimir Putin in Russia. If you want to understand why there's the tension, why there's the conflict, why Russia went into Georgia, why Russia seized Crimea, all of these things, you have to understand the events that have gone on over the last 15, 20, 25 years that have really shaped all these. This is another article that you guys need to take a look at. This is something that can be validated on a multitude of sites. It is very informative. It gives a detailed account for what's going on and the moves and the decisions that the CIA has made over there, why these radical groups in the Ukrainian military are so well trained. This is something that you need to familiarize yourself with. Another article is going to be on the other group in Ukraine. They're not as large, they're not as well equipped, but they are on the front lines fighting the separatists and fighting the Russian army right now, just as much as the Azov battalion is. They might not be funded and be fully incorporated in with the Ukrainian military, but they are supported by the Ukrainian government. They are get greenlit by the government. They have almost no oversight. They're funded by the Ukrainian oligarchs, which get their money from where? The government. So this is another article I think is worth noting. This is an article from a Jewish magazine from 2018. Only Jewish state in the world is funding and supplying arms to the only Nazi military elements in the world. Find the article, go to this website, check it out, give it a read. It's a short article. Look into the details. Don't allow myself or anybody else to formulate your opinion. Take the information, research it on your own, and look for it. You're going to be surprised at what you learn of what's really going on out there. I recommend finding this article. It is on RT. There's another article similar to this one that came out about a year ago that's on Al Jazeera, and definitely worth a read. Again, take it for what you will. Take the information, research it. If you can verify it and you can come to your own conclusions on it, do it. Don't allow any one site, any one source, or any one person to influence your opinion in any way. Come to your own opinion. This is another article that's 7 years old that touches on the dangers of this unit being incorporated into the military. Ice News one, that's up. And the reason why I'm showing you these is you need to understand that this is there. These aren't just super clips that I made in a video of a one-off situation where it's just me like, oh, I'm just going out of my way to, just to salt some wounds because I'm a Russian sympathizer. It's not the case. We have to understand what caused this war so we can understand how to solve it so this doesn't happen again. The article that you see that you see on the screen right now, this gentleman right here, this is the interior minister, the one that was shown in that clip. This article here is based on this gentleman and the BDUs being granted citizenship for his efforts and his bravery in combat fighting the Russian separatists. Think about that. This guy's a certified Nazi on the left. This is a government official congratulating him on becoming a Nazi. Or no, I'm sorry, congratulating him on becoming a citizen. I shouldn't have said Nazi. He is one, but that's outside of. This is a tweet I came across today. This is by a news anchor for Channel 24 in Ukraine, calling for the systematic killing of Russian children in Ukraine. Now, once the Ukrainian forces defeat Russia on it, that essentially what the way he wants is for the Azov battalion or government in general to go around and systematically kill all the children so they won't rise up and fight the Ukrainians again. So the last part I want to leave off with is the real heart of what this video is about. The radicalization of people in the West going to Ukraine, joining the Foreign Legion and fighting. What you see here is a Russian column that was ambushed. One tank was hit with an anti-tank round. Multiple tanks broke formation, turned, acquired the target, fired on it. That Ukrainian soldier or whoever it was doesn't exist anymore. But if you look at the headline, the article reads, Russian armored convoy destroyed in ambush. The convoy wasn't destroyed. You can watch this video. you can see the entire convoy minus one tank driving away. So what does that mean? What it means is that events like this are being misrepresented, they're being used as propaganda, and they're assuming that people are too ignorant on their own to verify visually what's actually being happening in the screen. That they'll just assume a convoy. Obviously, there's a tank destroyed. That obviously means Ukraine destroyed all the tanks, even though they're all driving away in the video, must mean they all got destroyed. It's not happening. But what it does is it stokes this misrepresentation of the conflict, which makes people think that the Russian military is incapable. They're a bunch of ragtag, untrained, unequipped, not disciplined group of soldiers that can't defend against a much smaller force. And it's not true. You cannot be getting your butt kicked while simultaneously advancing through the country. You cannot be winning all of your battles as they are in the South, fighting the bulk of the Russian forces and winning strategic location after strategic location day in and day out. I truly believe those plans on Russia's goal of overtaking Ukraine in 2 weeks were fairly accurate, judging by the units in the north, by Kiev being National Guard. That's essentially the force that's up north. And they're essentially just holding ground, running forward operating missions, going in, taking targets, and doing what they can up there. The bulk of the military, the main military, is in the south, and Ukraine forces are getting slaughtered. The videos I've seen are not nice. They're not good. I won't show them. Nobody needs to see dead bodies laying throughout the field or on the streets or in the buildings, bodies hanging out of tanks. Nobody needs to see that. But what we need to know is that this misrepresentation is going to stoke bravado or something of people, which have already caused over 3,000 Americans alone to sign up for the Ukrainian, Foreign Legion. What happens when they go over there and they spend 2 months, 6 years sleeping, eating, training, and fighting with Nazis? What happens when we get 15,000, 25,000 people that go over there, become professional soldiers, that become radicalized by Nazis, and then bring it back to their respective countries? What happens if 10,000 Americans go over there, get radicalized, and then they come back? Do you think that we can handle 10,000 radicalized Nazi soldiers in the United States? What about France, which has about 10% of their population being Muslim now? That has an actual radicalization problem with their population. And all of a sudden we radicalize the French population, and now what do we do here? This is the conflict that we're presented with. This is the conflict that we need to avoid. We cannot allow NATO to get into a war with Russia, and we cannot allow the Foreign Legion to succeed. We can't allow them to recruit. We need to stop that. Can we stop it? I don't know. I'm one person making a video on YouTube. What do I do? If enough of us are educated, enough of us can deter the people that we know. And that's what we need to be able to do. Thank you guys for watching. I'm going to put out more content. I'm going to hopefully do a better job, do better storytelling, get a better production value. It's my first video in about 8 years. So bear with me. I thank you. I appreciate you. Leave me your thoughts and comments if anybody does watch this. And I'm going to put out a new video here soon. Hopefully, just every time, keep stepping up my game on production value and try to educate everybody the best that I can. All right. So take care. Be blessed. Thanks.